am very excited to be making some apple crumb cake soon because I love apple crumb cake, more so the crumb cake than the apple, but you still need the apple for at least part of it.
Yeah. You need a moderate amount of apple.
Like 1/50th of the apple crumb cake can be apple. The other 49/50ths can be crumb.
So we have a great recipe from my mom. Hi, Mom. And we always double the crumb part because it's just like, that's the best part.
It is.
So probably not the healthiest option, but we got to find something to do with all these apples we picked last weekend.
Yeah, apple is just the making sure that the crumb has a little more flavor to it. The apple is seasoning for the crumb cake.
Yes, that's true. It should be called crumb cake with apple seasoning.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm definitely, oh man, I love fall so much.
I love Halloween.
Okay, explain to me why you love Halloween.
It's just fun.
Okay, I mean, that's fair.
I don't know. I think it's one of those holidays where it doesn't feel like very attached to anything. It feels like it's just Halloween. Like it's just a fun time of year. Like it's during fall, so it's nice. And I mean I've been using it for the past few years as an excuse to throw a Halloween party.
Oh yeah.
Every year. So I don't know. It's just Halloween's just fun. Like I like the decorations a lot more than like Christmas decorations.
Nope, I disagree with you there.
I'm not a huge person for like Halloween movies and TV shows, but a lot of video game Halloween events are pretty cool. So yeah, it's just fun. I just like all the horror aspect to it, even though I'm not a big horror movie person.
Yeah, I am definitely not either. But I enjoy Halloween. It's not my favorite holiday. I know a lot of people who are like, this is like that. I remember that was the mom on Modern Family. That was her, like, that was her holiday. And our neighbors really get into Halloween every year. And they have so many people in their family that like, they had a full on Avengers, like one year and they had like
Jedi.
They had a whole bunch of Jedi. And so I enjoy watching what they decide to do every year.
Yeah.
It's super fun.
Do you know what, Shelby and I are going as?
No, I don't.
Oh, I can't remember what I mean, obviously, Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yes.
Do you remember? I'm going as Jack Skellington.
Okay.
And I forget what the woman's like Frankenstein's name is.
Dang, what is her name? That's gonna bug me. Sally.
Sally, that's it. Yeah.
That's perfect.
So, we're gonna like.
You're gonna get like face paint and stuff?
Yeah, face paint. I'm gonna dye my hair white. I might shave. We'll see.
Do you remember when your dad painted you up to be Darth Maul?
Yeah.
That was, I mean, he did
a good job.
He did a good job regardless, but he especially did a good job given like the crappy stuff he was working with. Like it was not high quality.
I felt like a total badass as a 6-year-old as well, being Darth Maul. Like I was like, oh yeah, I'm into this.
Oh yeah, you were totally. I really liked this. Is it Steve? Is Steve the Minecraft?
Steve. Yeah, no. We took a cardboard box and pixelated it.
Yeah,
like, we just drew all the pixels out and made it and colored it to look like Steve's head from Minecraft. Yeah.
And June, our puggle, went as a pumpkin spice latte.
Oh yeah.
We put a cardboard sleeve around her. Put a little Starbucks lid on her head. I think that is like depending on how these air. This is like the third time we've talked about pumpkin spice lattes.
Yes. I went as Obi-Wan Kenobi one year because I had like the brown Jedi robe, and I had it was technically Anakin's lightsaber, but
you were carrying on the tradition because my brother and I your Uncle Jason and I went as stormtroopers.
That's awesome.
When we were little.
I don't know why.
Mom was Princess Leia.
Really?
Yeah,
I want to see that.
So we were like guarding her. Like we were,
That's funny.
Yeah.
She should dress up as Darth Vader.
Actually, you know what? I think she was Darth Vader now that I think about
That's
it.
great.
Because I remember a Darth Vader mask, and now I can't remember. I think she was Darth Vader, and we were stormtroopers. She's going to be mad at me for not remembering. That tracks. Sorry, mom. No, she's a lovely woman. We're just poking fun.
I remember her teaching me Imperial March on the piano, though.
Oh yeah, I do. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, of course you would know that song.
When I was, well, I mean, considering how much your uncle is obsessed with Star Wars.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Yeah. Another year I went as like a
It's also based on
punk
a
rock
classic
girl.
music. So
Yeah, right. Yeah, I went as like a punk rock girl kind of thing, like very bright fluorescent stuff. And I think I went as Madonna one year.
Interesting.
But not like any of the more extreme, not like pointy bra cup Madonna or anything. Because I was younger.
I'm glad that image remained out of my head.
Yeah. I really, honestly, besides those, I really can't remember what I went as for other years.
I'm actually really excited to do Jack Skellington.
The Pumpkin King.
Because I love his suit. And
it's such a cool suit.
I told Shelby, I'm like, once you buy this for me, Halloween's not the only day I'm gonna be wearing this suit.
Anytime you have to get dressed up, you'll show up at weddings.
Yes. No, I show up to funerals.
Right, yeah. More appropriate. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Depending on whose funeral, I actually would, because they'd probably love it. But
yeah, I guess it would depend on, yeah. Yeah, so I was curious with Halloween coming up. I was kind of curious about like the origins of Halloween. And so I looked up some stuff. It's interesting. I actually found some stuff via the Library of Congress, so it feels like it's pretty solid information.
it feels weird that the Library of Congress would have information about the origins of Halloween.
Well, it links to a lot of like articles and stuff that were published that kind of give that history. But anyway, just like many, many holidays that we celebrate as Americans, it is taken from a pagan religious celebration called Samhain, which is interesting because it's spelled like Sam Hain, but it's I guess in Gaelic it's pronounced Samhain. Samhain. Okay, so it was a pagan religious celebration to welcome the harvest at the end of summer, when people would light bonfires and wear costumes to ward off ghosts. It also was the celebration. It was a time then they recognized they felt like the ghosts of the dead were returning to Earth, and that the boundary between the worlds of the living and the dead became blurred. Yeah. And so the tradition of wearing scary costumes actually
is to ward off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to also establish, like, I'm not a ghost.
That's also why they put pumpkins out front, I'm pretty sure, as like guards basically for people's houses.
You know what? I did read something on that. I'll have to see if I can find it. But then, so Halloween, as we know, is October 31st. And then November 1st is All Saints Day. Have you ever heard of All Saints Day?
Is it about all the saints?
Kind of, yeah. It's
including Saint Nick?
Actually, yes.
Oh, cool.
It's a religious holiday to honor all the saints, which Pope Gregory III designated. So it's like Halloween was designated like All Hallows Eve, which is the precursor to the word Halloween.
Yes.
And then All Saints Day was the next day. So it's interesting, like...
So it's Hell's Day versus Heaven's Day?
Kinda, yeah, I guess, yeah. So this thing, I thought this was interesting. This is the pumpkin one. The tradition of carving jack-o'-lanterns originated in Ireland using turnips. It was allegedly, so we don't know for sure, based on a legend about a man named Stingy Jack who repeatedly trapped the devil and only let him go on the condition that Jack would never go to hell. But when Jack died, he learned that heaven did not want his soul either, so he was forced to wander the earth as a ghost for eternity. The devil gave Jack a burning lump of coal and a carved-out turnip to light his way. Locals eventually began carving scary faces into their own turnips to frighten away evil spirits. So, I mean, kind of what you said.
So that's why it's called a jack-o'-lantern?
Yes. That is why it's called a jack-o'-lantern.
Cool.
I find that stuff so fascinating when you find out what, why things were named that way. But anyway, yeah.
Especially when there are things that I don't believe. Like, I mean, I guess people could have still believed that he did that. All that stuff happened, just that it didn't actually happen. He just kind of died, and that's it. But
This is so... And the colors were black and orange because black represented death and orange represented the autumn harvest.
well, of course.
Yeah. And then there's...
So basically, it's Death Harvest. So it's about the Grim
Death
Reaper.
harvest. Yeah, pretty much, I guess.
I mean, that is what it's called when Grim Reaper takes a life, is harvesting.
Oh, yeah. That's
So
true. Interesting. There's also 3 theories, apparently, about trick-or-treating. The first was that during Samhain, Celtic people would leave food out to appease the spirits that were traveling the earth at night.
and kids would just take it.
Huh?
And kids would just take it.
I mean, if I was a kid, I would.
Yeah, I would too. Could you imagine accidentally dooming your neighbor because you just wanted the piece of bread they left out?
It says over time, people began to dress as these unearthly beings in exchange for these offerings of food and drink. The second theory speculates that it stems from the Scottish practice of guising, which is a secular version of souling. During the Middle Ages, generally children and poor adults would collect food and money from local homes in return for prayers for the dead on All Souls Day. And then the third theory is it stems from bell snickling, which is my favorite one so far, a German-American Christmas tradition where children would dress up in costume and then call on their neighbors to see if the adults could guess the identities of the disguised.
Oh.
In one version of the practice, the children were rewarded with food or treats if no one could identify them.
But where did the trick or treat come from?
That's an excellent point. It didn't, or excellent question. It doesn't, maybe the trick part is we're trying to trick you because you can't identify us.
Maybe.
With the bell snickling one. I just think it should be that one because of the name. Bell snickling. I might be pronouncing that incorrectly, but I think I'm pretty close.
Oh, it started as trick for treat. So you would do like a little performance or something with your outfit, and then you'd get a treat for it.
Interesting.
But then I don't know how it got started to be trick or treating.
Treat them right. Don't be tricked. That's an ad for candy. Trick-or-treating rose in popularity in the 1950s and inspired candy companies to market small, individually wrapped candies.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Like, so many holidays are corporate pushed.
Oh my gosh.
Because
Okay, can we talk about Sweetest Day?
or Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day actually had an origin, but Sweetest Day just feels like it was freaking made up by the card company.
What is Sweetest?
That's an excellent question. I don't really fully understand it. It's just something about dating, I guess. What is Sweetest Day? Is a day to share romantic deeds or expressions and acts of charity and kindness.
Wait, how do you spell it?
Sweetest, like the sweetest thing, like sweet.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Not Swedish Day.
No, I think it's a sweet S, like with no T or H for that matter.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember this because it's actually coming up for us. October 21st.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot that it's in October.
Yeah, I remember seeing this and being like, isn't this literally just Valentine's Day?
Yeah.
Like, what's the point?
Yeah.
Like, it feels like a mix of Valentine's Day and...
Oh, it just feels like Valentine's Day light.
It's Valentine's... No, it's mixed with... It's Valentine's Day and Thanksgiving mixed together.
Oh, interesting.
It's like literally thanking people for your friendship.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I find it ridiculous. I think there's some weird holidays out there. And we're actually go ahead.
If you look at the holiday calendar, there's like 7 holidays a day as well.
Oh, you mean like the National Coffee Day and like stuff like that? Yeah.
National Flag Day is
Yeah.
Shelby's birthday and Sheldon's favorite holiday.
Oh, that's right. Fun with flags.
Yes.
Yeah. There's there's a lot of holidays, and some of them are kind of fun too. Like there's Talk Like a Pirate Day. There's Answer the Phone Like Buddy the Elf Day.
There's some where they were fake holidays and they gained so much popularity they became legit.
I have to tell you about Answer the Phone Like Buddy the Elf Day because it was a long time ago, but a friend of mine and I, we both loved Elf, and we were talking about this holiday coming up.
Hey, this is Buddy the Elf. What's your favorite color?
Yes. And so I actually forgot about it. And I called her for something else. And she answered the phone kind of hushed, was like,
Buddy the Elf, what's your favorite color? Put that down.
and I was like, and I just started laughing. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. She's like, okay, I got to call you back later. I'm meeting with my lawyer. I was like, she did it anyway. That's awesome.
That is very funny.
But right now, I mean, Halloween is sort of like, not emblematic, but it is, if you don't count the Jewish festivals, it is the gateway into like typically American celebrated holidays for like this last, it's like holiday season.
Yeah.
Right. So right now, actually, we're in the middle of Sukkot, which is a Jewish festival. And you, at one time when you were younger, called it Sue's Coat. And you were wondering why we were
Celebrating Sue's
coat. It's a beautiful coat. That's why we're celebrating it. Which is, oh man, I'm trying to remember what Sukkot is. It's, the celebration of the sheltering of Israel while in exile, while searching for the promised land.
Gotcha.
Okay, so we're actually like kind of in the middle of that festival right now. And we just passed a bunch of
We really do
other
just
Jewish festivals.
celebrate anything and everything, don't we?
Well, I don't want to say that about Jewish festivals because those are religious festivals that are very important to their identity and their faith.
Fair enough.
But I think you could say that about like, National Potted Plants Day or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know
I
if
saw
that's
one
but
that was like related to Sweetest Day that was like National Proposal Day. It's like, why,
that's weird.
like, what's the point? Like the proposal itself is a holiday. You don't need to.
Right. Yeah. That's funny. But the thing I find interesting though, like, so, Halloween was, it started from a pagan religious tradition. It became, like, for Americans at least, a very commercial holiday, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think anybody thinks anything about, I think All Saints Day is bigger in like the Catholic Church, maybe the Episcopal Church, but like, I don't think a lot of like evangelicals, are like All Saints Day. I don't think it's,
Yeah.
But it made me think about how many other holidays come from these pagan traditions that have been co-opted.
Okay.
So one of them that I find very interesting is Christmas.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, which I think a lot of people know that by now, but it was the Roman celebration of the birth of the sun god. And I think it's also celebrating, like, they erected some kind of monument to the sun god on December 25th. And so they celebrated it every year. So the thing I find fascinating about this is I don't think a lot of Christians understand that the origins of holidays they find to be very precious to them based in paganism.
Yeah.
And that we basically co-opted it. So I looked up I looked it up to try to understand a little bit more about like why this happened,
Yeah.
right? And I had some suspicions, but I wanted to look it up more. And so what happened with Christianity and Judaism is Christianity recognizes Jesus as the savior, technically as the Jewish savior.
Game recognizes game.
But Judaism does not. They think he was an excellent prophet, but not the Son of God. Right?
Yeah.
And so when Christianity started, the origins, which they called at the time the Way.
This is the way.
This is the way.
That was my first thought, was straight to Mandalorian.
awesome. Anyway. Anyway, they wanted to separate themselves from Judaism.
Okay.
Because of that separation in belief, and also because of a lot of anti-Semitism. Okay.
Naturally.
Yeah. So there was a lot, like Irenaeus was one of the early Christian leaders. It's Irenaeus. Who was anti-Semitic. And then so not only was he anti-Semitic, but then they're also looking, like, the way was reaching out to Gentiles and trying to, like, graft them into the faith, right? So, but the Gentiles had trouble. Do you know what a Gentile is?
Nope.
A non-Jewish person.
Gotcha.
Okay. So the Gentiles were not
Muggles.
interested. They what?
I said muggles.
They were not.
I'll just stop talking now.
Muggles. The Gentiles were reluctant to give up their pagan traditions. And so what happened over time was Christians just adapted pagan holidays and kind of usurped them and made them Christian. So it was a way to, like, make them feel more comfortable.
Almost like what Christians did to everything else. Sorry, not sorry.
It's sorry, not sorry.
Actually, just not sorry.
You're not sorry for making that statement?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were, like, saying the Christians were like, sorry, not sorry.
No, they probably were.
But I find that one of the reasons I find that so fascinating is because there are certain things, like, I remember your dad looked up some of this at one point, and what's that called? The greenery of a Christmas tree that came from pagan rituals.
Oh.
And we would have Christmas trees in churches.
Yeah.
You know, but if you were to say, you know, we want to take out this because it's a pagan symbol, Christians would be up in arms about it.
Yeah.
Right. So it's interesting to me. It's fascinating to me that there are these pagan things that have become so expected, but we won't now make any accommodations for anybody to be part of a faith.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just, you believe all these things or you do not belong.
I also feel like holidays in general now have become way less religious and more about the holidays themselves.
I would argue they're more commercial.
Yeah,
like it's
exactly.
more about, you know, gift giving.
And I think that's okay. I think if you want to celebrate Christmas religiously, that's fine, as long as you're not pushing it on other people. And I think if you want to celebrate Christmas as just a gift-giving, family get-together holiday that's non-religious, that's fine as well, as long as you don't, like, make fun of people for celebrating it religiously.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's some other holidays like that, like Easter as well.
Yeah.
Easter's the egg hunt holiday now. It's not.
Yeah, and the Easter bunny, it's not really so much about it. That is one of the ones that actually kind of coincides often with Passover, which is a Jewish holiday.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because it's one of the few holidays that are based on a lunar calendar instead of the Julian calendar.
It's pretty cool, actually.
Because it's like the Sunday after something. I don't know.
So what you're saying is Moon Knight celebrates it?
Yes. Oh, you're just shoehorning all these Marvel and Star Wars characters into holidays.
Harry Potter.
Yeah. So I actually think Harry Potter is an interesting example of how the holiday is not religious for everybody. You know, because if it was a religious celebration, I don't know that they would have been celebrating it at Hogwarts.
Yes.
You know? So.
Especially since they're in Europe. They're not even in America.
Well, they celebrate Christmas in Europe.
Well, I know, but it's usually like less, or there's different holidays and different ways of celebrating holidays depending on what country you're in versus.
Yeah, I'd be really curious, like how England approaches it. I don't really know that I know. I think I know of a couple
They're probably
things.
nicer about it.
Maybe. I know of a couple different like traditional treats. Like I read that book, The Little Book of Hygge, which is about the Danish idea of feeling comfort, like creating comfort around you wherever you are.
Yeah.
And the book talked about Christmas and was like, oh, here's what like a Hygge Christmas looks like. And it was all these different like recipes and stuff like. So I think it looks different in every country is I guess what my point is. But yeah, I'd be curious as to like the religious versus commercial in some other countries, like how, because I mean we get super commercial here about it.
Yeah, we do.
And also super religious, but
I think for me, it's like, I just like the actual celebration. The commercial stuff in general never bothers me. It never, I mean, it bothers me, but it doesn't like make me want to buy stuff, or it doesn't make me want to like celebrate it the way the commercial people, whatever you want to say, wants you to celebrate it. And so I'm just like celebrating Christmas because I just want to like give gifts to people. I'm not celebrating Christmas because I want to like go out and buy, or get a Christmas tree and do all this other stuff. I don't know. I'm more about like the celebration itself than all of the extra necessities that usually come with it. Like I think Halloween, I find especially fun because
I think you mean Samhain.
yes,
I'm just kidding.
like handing out candy to kids is like really cool and interesting, and being the kid is really cool and interesting as well. I mean, like being able to dress up as whoever you want, like you get to basically, instead of Halloween being celebrating Halloween, it feels like almost a celebration of all of your favorite things. So like you get to celebrate all of, like I get, like if I wanted to one year I get to celebrate Minecraft and dress up as Steve. One year I get to celebrate Star Wars and dress up as Darth Maul. And this year I get to celebrate like my first Halloween with like actually spending some time with my girlfriend on Halloween, and we're doing like couples costume with like Nightmare Before Christmas, which is both of our like favorite Halloween movies. So yeah, it's, I think that's why Halloween is so great for me. It's like it feels like an all-encompassing celebration.
Yeah, I think it is a lot of fun, and it's disappointing to me that there are a lot of Christians who kind of get up in arms about Halloween, and they think, like last year, I can't remember if I already said this in some other episode, but last year there was like the Hocus Pocus thing where some woman was doing videos about how when they cast spells in the movie, they were actually it was actually kind of come through your TV and
obviously
hypnotize your kids, and and when I think about it, I kind of understand where these people are coming from, because I understand the faith and what they've been taught. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I understand where those ideas come from, because there's this idea, the idea for a lot of Christians is like Satan is crouching on every corner and just ready to
obviously,
and so it's kind of the same thing about what you had said about first person shooter games, that it's frustrating to you that people just assume then you're just going to go shoot up a school because you're playing. Like, there are a lot of people who play first person shooter games, and they're not all shooting up schools.
I hate to break it to you, but there's literally millions of players. I think we'd all be dead by now.
Right, exactly. And so, but video games are like an easy, target to say, oh, this is bad, rather than maybe looking at mental health outcomes or actually all kinds of stuff. The what do they call it? Social determinants of health. There are all kinds of determinants around us that lead to people making poor choices and doing bad things, right? But we just want to look at it as an individual failure or pin it on something like video games, instead of saying, oh, we wouldn't have as much of a problem with it like this with this if we had a good healthcare system, if we took mental health seriously, if we did more to keep people out of poverty. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
But we want to pin it on stuff like video games and then Halloween. Like, oh, if my kid dresses up like a witch, then they're gonna be a witch. Like,
I don't.
Although isn't that the plot of Halloween Town? Like the people become their costumes.
I don't know. I don't understand. Like how people just assume that everyone is super susceptible to stuff. Like
Yeah.
that there's like somehow no free thinking and free will. Like you're just gonna like.
Yeah.
Like, do you know how many times I've changed what profession I want to be?
Right.
Like.
Yeah, I didn't ever thought about it that way. It is
I
kind of
can't-
looking at people as weak-minded.
Yeah, if I can't even decide what profession I want to be in the future, then how do you expect me to just like be playing a video game and become the character in the video game?
Well, I think what people miss is that there's a difference between fantasy and reality, right? And so they're not going, "Oh, this is a fantasy element, right? Oh, I'm going to dress up like this character and I can see the difference between fantasy and reality." And a lot of these same people will not really be upset with targeted rhetoric that creates that leads to terrorism, like domestic terrorism, and it's they don't see the connection there, and they're like, oh, somebody said some mean words, that doesn't mean, but that kind of stuff actually does lead to harm, whereas someone dressing up as something is not going to make them see, oh, I'm a witch.
Ooh, can I dress up as a successful person?
Oh my gosh. If it were that simple,
Yeah. Like,
I'd be like, I'm going as a famous author.
yeah. I'm going as the most well-known in podcasting.
Yes. Yeah. So I don't know. But anyway, so those are some of the annoying things about Halloween, but it's not my favorite, but yeah, people.
So it's an annoying thing about a lot of things.
That's fair. If you could just get rid of the people. Was there, I forget what that line is from, I don't remember if it was like a movie or TV show where they're like,
A person is smart. People are dumb, panicky, dangerous animals, and you know it.
It's true.
yeah. So
I feel like it's something dumb like Home or something like that, and it's one of the aliens or something.
no, it was somebody listening right now is like, I know what that is. I feel like it was from like a political TV show or something.
Is it Madam Secretary?
That's going to bother me. No, it wasn't. It was before Madam Secretary. Although I love Madam Secretary.
That's why I was wondering if it was that.
Oh, no. I would remember it probably because I just rewatched that series. So.
I understand people not liking holidays because of how commercial it is, but I don't think people should like be mad at other people or assume things about other people because of those holidays that they like.
Well, we have to keep in mind every generation comes in without the historical knowledge of the previous generation, right?
Yeah.
So to you, the way Halloween was growing up was normal. Whereas somebody who was born in the 30s or 40s might be like, well, Halloween was a lot nicer back, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like it changes over time.
It was nicer.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I can't think of anything in particular with Halloween, but I hear that about other things where like,
Oh, yeah.
Because you're
Back in my day.
right. The back in my day thing. I think Halloween is harmless. By the way, the quote was from Men in Black.
Really?
Yes.
Was it from an alien?
It was from Agent K.
Oh, okay.
A person is smart, people are dumb, blah, 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 blah. Like talking about whether they should know that aliens exist on Earth.
I keep wanting to rewatch Men in Black.
This is such a good movie. I love that movie. Well, anyway, I think I've said everything I want to say about Halloween. I don't know if you have any other.
It's great. It's great.
Great.
I'm going to dress up as Tony the Tiger now.
I'm probably just going to wear my red panda costume again.
Cool.
If I can fit in it.
You going to hand out candy this year?
Oh my gosh, always.
Yeah.
Always hand out candy.
I figured so, but
I actually really enjoy doing that. It's funny because most of the time the kids just kind of walk up and take the candy and walk away. so it's not very rewarding. But
like we've said, there's different ways of celebrating for everyone.
Right.
For kids, it's mostly about taking candy from as many people as you can.
Right. And I've learned over the years like which things are popular.
Oh yeah.
Like Reese's peanut butter cups do not go.
Nope. I bet you Whoppers don't go either, but those still remain to be one of.
I can't remember. Well, they're part of a multi-pack. That you get.
Exactly. I don't know why
Yeah.
they're part of the multi-pack because nobody picks them.
What I started doing last year was I would give something to the kid, and then I'd be like, to yell to the mom or dad who are like at the end of the sidewalk, and be like, do you want a peanut butter cup? They're like, yeah. And so I would just send it with the kid because the parents always wanted them. But the kids, like those sour gummy worms, go fast.
Yeah. I think there's some things where they seem enticing because they're all candy, but then peanut butter cups are like, oh, it's peanut butter. Like,
They're like one of the most popular candy. I just think it's funny that you're like, oh, it's peanut butter.
well, no, but I think
It has protein in
I
it.
think peanut butter is associated with other things, but I think when you think of candy, you're not like, ooh, that has this
Yeah,
ingredient
I
in it
don't-
that's in other things.
I don't want any healthiness to my candy.
Yeah.
Don't add protein.
No, kids are just like, oh, it's gummy worms. Like, yes.
Yeah. I have to admit, I do love the Trolleys. Those are pretty good.
Yes. My like for candy changes all the time, but I will always probably love the extremes.
Oh, yeah.
I like the strips though, not the bites. I mean, I like the bites too, but the strips are like the best.
Well, as we had mentioned, I don't even remember. What is time? I don't even remember if it was on this podcast or another podcast, but that I grew up near Hershey. So Hershey chocolate is like part of my, like, yeah.
I didn't think about how difficult Halloween is going to be for me this year because I'm cutting out Red 40 and
Yep,
Yellow 5.
I was just thinking that.
Oh no.
No Trolleys for you.
No Sour Patch Kids, no Swedish Fish.
Do the extremes have them? Have
Yeah.
those? No streams.
Yeah, it's a rainbow, so they got all of them.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go cry now. No, I'll probably get those. There's vegan candies have been getting really popular, and because companies have actually been able to make vegan candies that taste like candy and not taste like you're just mowing the lawn with your teeth. So, so I might try to get some of those this year.
That was great. Yeah, there's actually a lot more. Like they have like their version of fruit roll-ups, like more natural.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
although they're more expensive,
They are more
I think
expensive,
it'll be fun to kind of explore all the non-dye areas.
Yeah.
But cutting out dyes, cutting out, this has got to be a whole other topic, but cutting out like unhealthy and bad things for either you or the
so
environment,
hard.
it's so hard and it's so expensive.
It is very expensive. It's the thing that also that I don't know. Sometimes I think like they have a time when they make Skittles all like no color, which I realize the color helps designate which flavor you're going for. But like M&Ms could do that, like just
Well, the thing is, Skittles only do it during the June.
Pride Month.
Yeah.
Did you know that M&Ms used to all be dark and light brown?
Yep.
Yep.
But
So
I don't understand why the companies don't continue to do that, because I feel like there's actually starting to be a really big market for non-dyed foods.
yeah.
And so I feel like some of those companies at least need to make it so you can order it online or something like that,
Yeah.
because I think you can make Skittles or M&Ms really popular. You can get a lot of sales with that.
They can make like a version of it, like
Yeah.
no dye,
Yeah.
All right, well, I think we're getting to about that time.
Yes, because we're starting to go down rabbit holes and not our actual topic.
We do that all the time, but
Yeah. Anyways.
well,
Well.
time to go.